Roanoke Colony mystery is one of the most intriguing unsolved mysteries in American history that has captivated the imagination of people for centuries, with the colony's disappearance continuing to baffle historians and researchers alike to this day. Let me set the scene for you. A small group of English settlers in the 16th century landed on the shores of Roanoke Island, which is just off the coast of what is now North Carolina in North America, with the goal to establish the first permanent English settlement in the New World. The settlers were immediately confronted by a host of challenges, including some hostile Native American tribes. Despite this challenge, along with limited resources, they managed to build and preserve a community on the island. However, the success appeared to be short-lived, as just some years later, when some settlers returned from a trip to England to get some more supplies, the settlement had been completely abandoned, with the settlers having vanished without a trace. Well, there was one clue left behind: the word Croatoan carved into a nearby tree. The story of the Roanoke Colony mystery has it all: adventure, danger, intrigue, and a bunch of persistent questions such as what exactly happened to the settlers of Roanoke Island. Did they succumb to the harsh and unforgiving conditions, or did they relocate, or were they attacked by local Native American tribes? Well, if you want to find out, make sure to stick around, because this short 7-minute documentary will cover all and more. And if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and make sure to let me know in the comments if there are any other topics that you would like to see me cover. Roanoke Colony itself was the brainchild of Sir Walter Raleigh, a famous English statesman, aristocrat and explorer who was granted a charter by Queen Elizabeth I, which gave him a leading role in the establishment of colonies in the New World. Raleigh sent several expeditions to explore the eastern coast of North America, including a previously failed attempt at Roanoke Island in 1585. A few years later, in 1587, Raleigh decided to send another group of settlers with the aim of establishing a permanent colony on the island. The expedition was led by John White, a painter and friend of Raleigh, and the settlers included men, women and children, who were tasked with building a settlement and creating a thriving community in the New World. The settlers survived the perilous journey across the Atlantic Ocean, arriving at Roanoke Island in July 1587, and they soon began building their new colony. However, it wasn't long before the settlers began to face numerous challenges. To put it lightly, they got off to a bad start with the local Native American tribes, who were extremely hostile to their presence, and they struggled with a shortage of supplies, which was then exacerbated by a lack of support from England. A month after the settlers arrived, one of the settlers, a lady named Eleanor Deer, gave birth to a daughter, Virginia Deer, who was in fact the first English child born in the New World. However, the joy the birth gave the settlers was short-lived, as tensions with the local tribes continued to escalate. Just a few months later in autumn, John White was forced to return to England to secure some more supplies for the struggling colony, leaving behind his daughter and granddaughter. He intended to return to Roanoke as soon as possible with new supplies, but due to the outbreak of the Anglo-Spanish War, he was unable to cross the Atlantic and returned to the colony for several years. When White did return 3 years later in 1590, he found the colony completely abandoned, with no signs of the settlers or any evidence of what happened. The only clue left behind was the word Croatoan, which had been carved into a post, and the letters CRO, which had been carved into a tree. There were no signs of struggle or violence, and the settlement appeared to have been dismantled and abandoned deliberately. White believed that Croatoan was a reference to a nearby island and the tribe of Native Americans who lived there, but he was unable to search the island straight away due to a storm which prevented him from crossing the waters. These two enigmatic inscriptions were left behind at the colony site and have remained a mystery for over 4 centuries, with no definitive explanation. One of the main theories trying to explain the disappearance of the settlers is that those words carved into the post and tree were left as a clue to indicate that the settlers had moved to the nearby Croatoan Island, which is now known as Hatteras Island, and Croatoan was also the name of the nearby Native American tribe who lived on the island. Historians have speculated that the colonists may have tried to integrate with the Croatoan tribe, or moved to the island due to their struggle with resources and supplies. However, when John White was eventually able to investigate the island, he was unable to find any trace of the colonists, and despite actually being on good relations with the local Croatoan tribe, he couldn't find any evidence that the missing colonists had moved in with them. The absence of any tangible evidence, coupled with the lack of information about the settlers, their motivations, and their relationships with the Native American tribes in the region, has made it difficult to pin down the exact fate of the Roanoke colonists. Another theory put forward by historians is that the colonists may have actually been killed by the local Native American tribes, who were already known to be hostile towards English settlers. Some archaeological evidence has even suggested that there may have been a violent conflict between the English and the local tribes, and that some artifacts at the site may be interpreted as evidence of a possible massacre. And yet another theory is that the colonists may have attempted to establish a new colony elsewhere, possibly as far north as New England or as far south as Florida. However, this is pure speculation and there is very little evidence to support this theory, and no new colonies emerged further north. However, while we may never truly know what happened to them, there have been reports of encounters with pale-skinned, blonde-haired people among various Native American tribes, which have dated back to 1607. But there's nothing to say this is definitely the colonists that went missing. The lost colony of Roanoke has continued to be a mystery for 4 centuries, with any new methods of trying to determine what happened or evidence that crops up being inconclusive. For example, in 1937, a stone carving of a cross and the letters CRO was found in a swamp near the Roanoke Island settlement. In 2015, archaeologists discovered a piece of pottery vessel at a site on Hatteras Island, which they believed may have been made by a member of the Roanoke colony. In more recent years, some researchers have used modern technology such as ground-penetrating radar and archaeological excavations to try and locate the lost colony. But despite these discoveries and many years of research and speculation, the fate of the lost colonisers remains a mystery. The disappearance of the settlers has been one that captured the imagination of people for centuries, and it continues to be a subject of interest and speculation to this day. Maybe one day we'll find out what actually happened to the missing colonists. Could we find out that they were in fact killed by local tribes? Or did they assimilate into the Croatoan tribe? Or could there be something more nefarious and unexplainable at play? Sadly, if we haven't found out after 4 centuries, we may never find out. If you enjoyed my video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, where I'll be making more content like this. I really appreciate you watching and look forward to seeing you again next time.